The seagulls follow trawler. It's because they think sardines will be thrown into the sea. Thank you very much.
Talking nonsense. So I thought, no, enough's enough. Why should I put up with that? Talking nonsense. So I thought, no, enough's enough. Why should I put up with that? Don't back down, double down. Don't back down, double down.
Yes, here we
Hey.
go. The bus is back. It's Friday night, and it's not the Double Doon show. We're doing some pre-match pish. I've decided to combine two things. Rather than wearing my Marshall headphones and having that annoying microphone that I seem to not know how to use, I'll just use my work headset. So hopefully you can hear me okay. Wherever it is in the world you're watching the Bhoycie bus from. So pre-match pish is going to be all about tonight. The Hearts, the Jam Tarts, the Watery Farts, the Homer and Barts. Off to Tynecastle we go. I'm only kidding. We play at home as if I don't know. But we are going to be talking about some of our favourite Celtic and Hearts memories, which both do include fixtures at Tynecastle. That's why Tynecastle was on my head. I'm trying to act like I meant that. I didn't. So, pre-match pish. Phil McGinlay is in the house. Now,
All right.
obviously, at the start of every show, I like to ask the guest, how the devil are you, Phil McGinlay?
Mate, I'm feeling fantastic, mate. I'm excited for the game this weekend, mate. Just want to get it done now, mate. Oh, that's close, man. Come on. So we'll be talking about that later on. But as you're going through all your different rhyming slang there for Hearts, I just call them Jambo Bastards, mate. That's my name for them. I just very blunt with it. But yeah, looking forward to it tomorrow. We'll see. Fingers crossed, man. We could just finish the job here.
Aye, definitely, mate. Definitely. I mean, obviously that wee intro was a wee doff of the cap to the old Only an Excuse Stuart Cosgrove impression. That used to crack me up when he just do the rhyming slang. The one about, what was it he did with the Rangers? He was calling them the Teds, the garlic breads, the pish, the beds. And ironically, he calls them the living deads, which was before.
Mate, that's foreshadowing. That is.
I know. It's funny that though, eh?
Aye. Oh, it is. Aye. Must have a ball nearby.
Kieran, is your day job in a call centre? No, not in a call centre, mate. No. Not in a call centre. I just need it every now and then, so I thought I would wear it tonight just to see how it went. Brilliant to have so many folk in. Sitting with 30 already watching. You know the drill. Hit like, hit subscribe, share it with your pals. You know the one. We've been delighted with the response. We've got fanboyfootball.com still sponsoring us till the end of the month. T-shirt merchandise still to be had if you want it. And I need to come clean on this membership thing. So YouTube basically rewards you if you get to a certain criteria, Phil, right? So if you get this, if you've hit some sort of boundaries, I don't know, however many 100,000,
Yep.
I don't know, your views you've had in total, whatever it may be. I got a notification yesterday that says you can now put up membership stuff for your, your regular viewers to sign up to. I didn't realize though, the first two that were up there was priced at $2.99 and $5.99 for like a day and a week. That's not the ethos of the bus. I would never do that, but you can't change them. So I added another one, and it lets me edit the price on that. So for a monthly membership, it's $1.99. So basically, it's an optional Patreon. Effectively, it's just giving a tip. You know what I mean? For I don't know, 20 shows in a month. If you want to pay $1.99, you can. See, if you don't, you still get the same 20 shows a month, whatever it may be. So don't worry, it's not like there's exclusive content. Really, it's selling you nothing. It's just a kudos sort of thing. But anyway, I just wanted to clear that up because I panicked when I came off the show last night. I was like, $5.99 and $2.99. That's a rip off. So I sorted all that. There is a monthly option. It's $1.99. So.
I do like that they're called all-day tickets and bus passes. That's very smart. See the amount of things you can do with the bus, the amount of plunge you can come up with, and all that. It's fantastic. Oh, and exclusive news! I literally bought a Bhoycie Bus t-shirt before we came on the air.
Yeah,
and also picked up another t-shirt from Fanboy Football as well. One of the Celtic t-shirts that's on there.
Oh, did you?
Aye, they were solid and get both. So yeah, why not? While I was there, I thought I'll pick one up while I'm there as well. So
that's class. That
go.
is class, mate. No, I appreciate that, mate. I appreciate that. I appreciate everyone on the bus, though. That's the thing. There was a comment on the community bit saying I was a sellout. I was like that, mate. I was like, no. I'm like the least like that person. It's really not my style. But I'm like, if there's optional ways you can help the channel and help it pay for the subscriptions and that, then fuck it hell. That's all it is. And fucking if I can get a beer out at one time, then so what? That's all it is. It's not. I'm not going to be retiring anytime soon. Anyway, let's get to it because Hearts is one of those games. It's a game that we've had a lot of joy in, but this season it was a disappointing start at Tynecastle, losing 2-1. Then there was the game where we beat them. We scored 3, but we could have scored. I don't know.
The League Cup game quite early on when Edward was still here. We were unbelievable that day. Unreal.
Hugo played out wide left that day as well.
Yes,
with a nice goal as well. A focal point up top, interestingly enough.
Yeah.
I wonder if, you're seeing wee glimpses into the future. Who knows? But obviously this time it's a different sort of challenge. It's interesting because Celtic still, albeit it feels like we're over the line, the fact of the matter is we're not, Phil. Luckily, we've got a manager who 100% doesn't fall in the trap of that sort of complacency in any way, shape, or form. But for us, it's a game. If we win it, that's it. Job done. Not okay. They can't say it officially, but that is literally it. There is no way back, no way out. For Hearts, they've really got nothing to play for, and I think that's why it was one of the another reasons why it was so essential for them to get the 3 points last week. They know they had to because really Hearts are coming at a dead rubber here. The only way Celtic could possibly play, because Hearts aren't giving a shit who wins the league. Let's be honest. They've got their third spot. They'll be absolutely delighted with that. And fair play, they've been the third best team in the league by a country mile. And I know everyone hates them in that, but look, you've got to say kudos when, they've came up for the league below them. This is their first season back in the top flight, and they've been the third best by a country mile. But normally, that sort of presents you with a lot of challenges. I've just got a feeling because they've got the Scottish Cup final, mate, this is going to be, I don't want to say they're going to lay down. I don't think that, but I think it does lose a bit of edge, Phil. And I think that's given me positive vibes for this game. I think if we'd went into it on the back of a defeat last week, I think that changes the whole makeup of the game because Hearts will go into it going, there are we but on the ropes. And even though we have nothing to play for, we're kind of up for this because we might be able to take something here and get a famous result. Whereas now it looks like it's just the formalities that are to be done. They've got nothing to play for. I can see nothing but a Celtic win.
Yeah, I'd agree on that. I mean, it's not too dissimilar remember 2012 when they had the cup final and it was the last day of the season. Gary Hooper put 5 past them. We just turned up and smashed them that day. It could be a deal of that tomorrow. But the thing is with Hearts, they will against us. There'll always be an element of they'll try because it's us and there is a tension between both teams. But ultimately, we should get the job done. Ange will definitely keep he'll keep the team well grounded, and it'll just be a case of, just God, this was, the prize is right there, guys. It's right there in front of you. I mean, did nerves maybe kick in a wee bit last week? Because for a lot of these guys, it would have been their first title. Maybe there was a wee bit of that when they kind of started to, lose grip in the game. I hope that doesn't happen tomorrow or anything. They just go out. If we get an early goal, it's that whole thing. You get that, we can, go on and probably win quite comfortably, I would expect. I fully expect to see a Craig Gordon worldie of a save at some point tomorrow, because he does do that from time to time against everybody really. Football Writers Player of the Year, I think he won this week, didn't he? Or was it it was the Football Writers one?
Football Writers,
yeah. And if Mr. Halliday is playing, I'm sure he'll try his hardest. He'll definitely will, but nothing to worry about there really. But yeah, let's just see how it goes tomorrow. Fingers crossed, man. We just go out and just finish it off, because that means the last 2 games, I'd imagine, we'll just be free flowing in the last 2 games as well. So let's finish it on a high, mate.
Well, I think it's important as well, because what you're wanting is you want a situation where we do get to see maybe some of the guys that probably should have featured more this season that we've just not been able to take a chance on doing that with. And that would be good in the final couple of games, to see heavy rotation and get a chance to see an Ideguchi, for example. I think there's a lot of intrigue about right now. But at the end of the day, right now, it's all about getting the job done. And I think we'll see again Celtic at their absolute strongest. Treble Rebel comes in with a different angle on it. A good to have you on the bus, mate. And he's saying Hearts players have got Scottish Cup final places to play for. Well, I suppose there's an element of truth in that.
Yeah.
I don't know what. I keep mucking about with this collar. It's them, isn't But I think, to be honest with you, whilst that is the case, also the players will, with the Scottish Cup in mind, will be protecting themselves. The last thing you're wanting is to be picking up an injury, and the road to Hampden, if you like, for them, which it currently is, and it's a massive day out for Hearts at the end of the day, the cup final, and I think they've got a real frustration. I think have they been in 3 out of the last 4 finals? Did I read that right?
Yeah, obviously this one they played us twice, 2019 and the elongated 2020 season due to coronavirus. Yep, they played us. So yeah, that's 3. And then the last one would have been the Hibs one in 2012 before that. I think that would have been the last one, unless there's a sneaky one in there. But they had a League Cup final against St Mirren. I remember that. But St Mirren beat them. But Scottish Cup finals, it's been a bit of a gap they've had. They've had 3 in quick succession. Like 3 buses coming along once, not 3 trains coming along at once. Isn't that right,
Russell? You can't shove your granny off a train, mate. Oh, brilliant. Banned words. I've never heard of anything like it in my life.
Wow.
In comes Kenny. How you doing, mate? Hopes everyone's well. I can see a few big names. It's been a while since I've done this. We're going to do a wee roll of honour. Why not? I'll just scroll up to a certain point and then just read out some names. Dahalo LP is in, and he's wanting to know what we're all drinking. Joe P is late as fuck again. Don't worry, you can don't need to start out. It's fine. Nobody cares. Joe P, good to have you with us. Lanky 67's in. Jamie Young's in. And a big shout out to this man, Monty, struggling with the COVID just now. I understand, Monty. Do get well soon, mate. Always in our thoughts, my man. And I know you will come back, mate. And not as the Monty, still as Monty. Who else is it? Kaylee Galt. Is your t-shirt arrived, Kaylee? Kaylee's bought her second Bhoycie Bus t-shirt. Who else is in? We've got DS1. That mic is giving me walkie-talkie vibes. I hope the sound is okay.
I think it sounds fine, mate. Honestly,
good.
Aye.
Because the other one was making me go like robotic and that, like static and that.
Yeah.
On the camera. So this one seems to be letting me be I'm all jazzy and free flowing, man. Alfred says could be a tricky one tomorrow. Come on, Alfred. You're on the wrong bus for that pattern, mate. You know it. We'll get the job done tomorrow. Who else is in? Ryan Kelly. Paul McFarlane, Pato, Brown Warrior, Les Watts. Oh, I'm loving this, loving it. Some big names flying in. Murray Garrity, hail, hail, boys and girls for Murray Boy in Dublin, Ire. You know it, mate. Who else? Anthony Ingles as well. Back. He became a member for a day last night. What a legend, man. Brilliant. It's amazing. Best chef in Fife as well, Anthony, I found out. Because he's called Tony. Actually, turns out I know who he is. Tim Alloy, 67, is in. Bruce FM. Stephen Fagan. The league titles I was this weekend. I like that. Craig White Legend is in. Brian Galt, he's on the Jaeger and the cider. We know who that's with, and we know who influence that is, don't we? Paul Gilston, a regular viewer as well. Superb. I like to do a wee roll of honour. Roll call, mate. You know, everyone's on the bus. Everyone's welcome. Scott Howe, Jamie Young, Danny O'Malley as well. Right, that will do for the shout-outs. But anyway.
I think quickly, just regarding Alfred's comment there about it could be a tricky one tomorrow, there's also that thing in the back of a few fans' head about the 1-0 game we had before Christmas time.
Yep.
It was a real tight one. That was the infamous offside onside goal
it's
that
offside.
caused a meltdown.
It's offside. It's offside.
That one. But the
it's offside.
we were in a different place at that point. Remember, this was in the run-up to that January window that we needed really badly because of the injuries and stuff like that. So we did we were a bit sluggish that night, but we're in a different place now compared to December, when we were kind of running on fumes at some point during that month. But the old offside onside goal.
Well, I mean, do you remember that? Because Boyd, he just I think that was the game where he kept patting Petrov on the shoulder, and since then they've never sat beside each other. But what was all that about? He just kept going, it's offside.
I'm pretty sure as well during the half-time debate, because we scored the first half, he basically spent a lot of the half-time shouting at Ailey Barber, going, when are we getting VAR? When are we getting VAR in this league? And she's like, I don't know. What are you asking me for? And he's like, we need VAR now. When are we getting it? As if she would know. It was surreal to watch. I came home and watched it later that night and was like, is this really happening? Is this like a joke? What is this? Absolutely,
I know, mate.
Scenes.
I know. But the mad thing is as well about that. Oh, Scott Cameron, I never got a shout. Hello, Scott. Scott's going to be on the show on Sunday as well with Regan. Good to have you on as always, bud. Now, the funniest thing about that was, remember Chris Berra?
Yes, Christoph Berra.
Hearts die in the wool. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And he's saying, it's a bit 50-50 for me. No, it's just simply offside. And I'm like, this guy's not, it's not even like it's an agenda, because that'd be too clever for Chris Boyd to have an agenda. He's just a Rangers fan sitting there in a suit, talking like a Rangers fan. You're like, it's just mental. David Kelly comes in, a regular viewer as well. Missed you last night, David, but it's good to have you back on this Friday evening. And he's saying a lot of Hearts fans expecting us to give them a hammering tomorrow. They are missing their two centre-halves and their best centre-mid, and they will have to rest a couple as well. I think they are. I think tomorrow's a formality for me in terms of, I don't mean, we go out and we'll bleach them 5. No, I think there's a chance we could. But I think in terms of, we've got so much to play for. They've got nothing to play for. I was only joking, Alfred. His point taken. But I mean, I think definitely when a team like Celtic's playing for a title tomorrow, fucking league title, we're wrestling our title back tomorrow. After the pain of last season, not a pain of like 10 years like other teams, but a pain of a season was more than enough for us to stomach after a decade of dominance. And I think it's a huge occasion for Celtic. I just think for Hearts, it's we've got a final, one eye in the final, do your thing. Yes, some players want to maybe impress that are on the periphery, but the key players, the ones that know there's a good chance they're going to play, they ain't going to be risking it for to stop Celtic winning the title. I just don't see that. And I also think as well, if what David's saying is right and they're missing their two centre-backs and a centre-mid, their best centre-mid, sorry. I mean, the writing's on the wall. That's the way I'm seeing it. And,
good stuff, I like the confidence.
And the writing's on the wall in graffiti, Phil. Oh, just a joke. With all that in mind, are you coming round to that notion, Phil? Are you sharing the same confidence, mate?
Yeah, I am. I mean, I always have a wee bit of caution in me, and I say I do understand that sometimes freakish things can happen, but I just feel like the way Ange goes about things, the way he keeps the way he speaks in the media and all that, you can just tell he's not much different. Like sometimes some managers can go in front of the cameras and be completely different from how they act with their players. I think what you see with Ange in front of the media is exactly the same how he talks to the players in terms of like keeping them grounded. We're not going to think too far ahead. So he will have drilled into them. Look, this is it. Is this is the chance? What more incentive do you really need?
No.
To just get it done. See, obviously, officially, it can't be wrapped up until Tannadice through the week, or if Rangers drop points on the Sunday game. But yeah, it's all but effectively done. So yeah, let's just see them go out and do it tomorrow, man. That's all we ask. Just do it in front of the home fans. 60,000 people going to be there. It's going to be a good atmosphere. Going to be electric, man. What a moment it will be, man.
No, I know, and that's the thing. Go out there and do it in style in front of your own fan base. Don't do it on the back of, a defeat. And I mean, I know I appreciate that if Celtic win tomorrow, and they still need Rangers to drop points for us to be officially crowned champions.
We officially need 4 points from the last 3 games, but 3 points would suffice.
3 points does suffice. Yeah, exactly, Phil. And I just think do it in front of your own fans, put on the style.
At 12 o'clock.
Aye, and it's a 12 o'clock. At 12 o'clock. 12 o'clock.
Easy for you to
say. 12 o'clock kickoff tomorrow again for the second week in a row. Yep. Yeah, it's an interesting one because Sky are obviously covering the game, which is rare for them at Celtic Park. I just feel that this game is one where I would rather we won it on our terms.
Yeah.
In front of our fan base. I think it's the reward that our fan base actually deserve as well this season.
Yeah.
I think the backing that Ange has got, to me, has surpassed my expectations. I think there was almost an element of desperation in the fan base, if you don't mind me saying that, for Ange to be brilliant. I think a lot of folk were going, you'll need to be almost. So let's give him 100% backing. But what he's actually been able to do is he's been able to navigate some poor results and keep everyone on side. And I know recently the form's sensational, but obviously at the start of the campaign, obviously the 3 wins from 6. There was the European exit in the Champions League to Midtjylland. There was the sort of the pasting off Leverkusen, but he turns around, of course, and says that's when he knew things are clicking into place, apparently. So I mean, what do I know about anything? But I think he has appreciated, and I think the players will appreciate the backing this team's got. They've had almost each player in the 11 felt unusual, have had their own song about them at some point this season. We had Starfelt getting Starman when he first signed.
Yeah.
We had Juranovic. Who was he again? That
Pitbull, Fireball.
There was Jota on the wing, Jota on the wing, and then there was the Kyogo and Abada song. They've tried to do is it 99 Balloons?
99 Red Balloons by
Chaos.
Chaos,
Yep. So I mean, you look at it and you go, that tells you. This sounds trivial, by the way. It's not. It's it shows you a huge connection between the fans and this team. And I think that has been an incredible turnaround. And I think these guys, in terms of Postecoglou and the players, they want to win in front of these guys that have actually celebrated them like heroes all the way through the season, whilst all they had, even back December, was a League Cup. They won a League Cup in December. That's it. We've still not won the league yet they've all been treated like legends. They've had the proper Celtic fan treatment, I think, this season, the proper backing. We've shown what an outstanding support we are when everyone pulls together. And it's not the fans' fault, by the way, when they get cheesed off at the club, Phil. Last year was a very divisive season. From Board pissing us off, Lennon pissing us off, trips to Dubai, whoever came up with that idea pissing us off, John Kennedy and Gavin Strachan pissing us off. It was such a torn environment. To think now, I've just rung off, 6-7 players with their own chant, a manager who's worshipped like a god, and even Kennedy and Strachan don't seem to be disliked anymore. Can you see where I'm coming from here? That why the fans deserve to see that title won in front of them when I put it like that?
It just shows that there's a great rapport with the fans. And was it I don't want to. I hate to bring his name up because I know that some people don't like to hear it. But did Brendan Rodgers not talk about the Holy Trinity when it was like the board,
Holy Trinity,
the team, and the fans all singing from the same hymn sheet? Obviously, we had a year last year where nobody was singing from the same hymn sheet. Nobody knew what they were doing last year. So to see the fans and the players in particular, that rapport between them is strong. I mean, I know that certain clubs out there will criticise and say, "Oh, look at he's doing laps of honours after every game at Celtic Park." But again, these are all, these are all good things. Like, again, it just proves that the rapport with fans. Like, I love it when they do like the end of match, lap of honour, even if it is just like a win over Motherwell and stuff like that. Because again, it just builds up that camaraderie. The fans show that appreciation. And even like the other week when we lost the cup semi-final, that whole thing on the park where Callum McGregor got the players round in front of the fans, and go and show acknowledgement to the fans. Yeah, okay, we've lost it today. But, still go and acknowledge them because, there's some clubs like down south and that they have a bad result. They'll just trudge off the park without even acknowledging the fans, So you should always do that. And again, it just shows the rapport that now they have built. And yeah, but when you're talking about the songs, I just couldn't stop thinking about probably James Forrest weeping a lonely tear in the corner because he still doesn't have a song officially to this day. How many years has he been with the club?
That's frightening, eh?
I know. I'm sure somebody over the years, like you see different things getting posted on social media, and like people have tried to like suggest this could be a song for James Forrest, and it never really gets any traction because obviously the North Curve, they pretty much control the songbook at Celtic Park, and they're the ones that come out with all these, and you never hear a James Forrest one at all. So yeah,
that's so true. That's so true, eh?
Get your James Forrest song suggestions in the comments, guys. Let's get it going.
I mean, what you think about it, eh? Like, that is mad. I mean,
as
for
what he's done for the club, when you think about all the numbers he's put up for the club, yep, doesn't officially have a song, and if he does, it's totally bypassed me. I've never heard it.
There's only one James Forrest, maybe, if we sang that.
Maybe.
Shocking, isn't it? Shocking. I mean, Kyogo and Abad had been there 2 minutes.
Aye.
Like they scored a couple of goals and did a European qualifier. That was it. Hey! But I mean, I think there is an importance though behind all these chants. I think as well, as much as it's great fun, it's great to hear the fans in full voice. I do think it's showing that they're identifying with this team.
Definitely.
They're picking favourites. Everyone's picking their own favourite. Folk are falling out about the right back position and things,
Yeah.
But I really think that's wonderful.
That's fine. Yeah, totally fine.
I mean, debate. And I think that side of it is showing what can happen when, as you rightfully say, there's some sort of Holy Trinity. For me, the Holy Trinity, though, right now, it's still got one side of it, on a wee bit of a shaky peg, and that is the board. Yeah. Now, we're going to briefly talk about the board because I was having a chat with Hale times 2 earlier, or Hale times 2, as I was calling him the other day.
It's Hale times 2, but you call them Hale times 2, which should be Hale times 4 in that case.
Which would be Hale. Aye. Yeah. Which isn't his name, but his name's Ian. He's a top lad, and we always have a wee bit of banter on the old DMs on Twitter, and he was saying, like we were talking about, he was like, I'm sick about, the scoreline last night and then being in a final. I says, I'm more angry at our board because we've been fed, Phil, fed this fucking narrative for 10 years that we just can't compete, and we just can't compete. Now, I was told in the last 12 months, so you know what I've been in the last 12 months, by someone that Celtic's budget every year is based purely on Europa League group stage qualification. So, i.e., that is our budget, right? So anything that Celtic make on top or a further round than the Europa League groups would be a bonus, if you like. So that tells you the lack of speculating to accumulate they're willing to make. The second competition in Europe, despite us winning 9 titles in a row, i.e. are in 9 Champions League qualifications in a row, their expectation, and they budgeted for Europa League group stage. That is damning. And that, even then, I don't understand how we've failed so miserably. What's our furthest reach in the Europa League? Last 32? Did we get to last 16?
the last 32, I think it is, because they've changed the format this year where the second round was 32 teams. I think previously it was 16 teams. Don't know. It's basically the second round, essentially the round right after the group stages. That's the furthest we've went. In the Europa League, when it was the UEFA Cup, it was different. Obviously, we managed to get to the final one year. But yeah, since it became the Europa League in 2009, it was group stages. Best we've done is basically the round right after the the group stages. That's the best we've got.
It's not acceptable.
No.
It's not acceptable. And I think right now what we're seeing is everyone wants to have a pop, right? Because that's what we do as rivals. And by the way, I'm not going to be. I mean, I got a message off my Rangers supporting pal Doogie. And he was like, I think you really need to congratulate Rangers on your pod. I said, Denny, push it. Right? It's no fucking. I'm not on follow you, daft. I was like, this is, I was like, it's a Celtic pod. What I can do though is get a wee bit bitter and jealous, if you like, of it, which I think is why I think deep down we're all feeling that should be us. That could be us. Why is that not us? And that's what frustrates you, really. And then we can turn it into, they'll tear up this town, which they may well do. But I mean, again, this is all deflect. From the real issue is we went out to Bodo Glimt in the conference, and I'm sorry, they're not of a level of some of the teams I think that the other lot have played.
Yeah.
Now, again, we're not turning this into being all about them. What I'm trying to say is it's an example already of what can be achieved from a Scottish team in European football. I mean, Brown Warrior saying, are you aware of just how much extra dough they've chucked at this Europe? I mean, £43 million. Please break that down for me, Brown Warrior. I would love to know the breakdown or how you know it's 43 million. What I can tell you though is Celtic have brought in nearly that in the last 18 months in transfer fees, let alone European prize money, let alone the other revenues that Celtic have over the last 10 years. I don't know. They've brought in plenty, but not enough. And I just think we should be looking at competing it in the latter stages.
Totally.
Even if they'd went out last night, I would love Celtic to have been in a European semi-final again. The closest we got was the following year, 2004, and we'll be talking about that 2004 team a wee bit. We went out to Villarreal, wasn't it?
Villarreal beat Barcelona, then we lost to Villarreal on, was it 2-1 on aggregate overall? I think we drew one each at Celtic Park and then lost out 1-0 in Spain. I'm sure it was something like that. Remember Larson scoring for us, definitely.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's a great point. Cathal Rocks comes in, lads, this is Angie's first season. I'm not talking about Angie's first season. Let's get that abundantly clear. What I'm talking about is the last decade, Celtic have had a free pass almost to Champions League qualifiers, and they qualified 3 times or something in the last 9 years, which I think is unacceptable. They were in the Europa League all those other years, and they never made a dent in that either. Not on Angie's European thing this season. I think that side of it we can all put to one side. Midtjylland, he had Kane. Was it Dane Murray? Kane.
That's got to be Kane.
It's got to be Dane. Dane Murray comes in and he's playing at centre back in a Champions League qualifier. I mean, it was Stephen Welsh. I mean, that is, so we can put that to one side, the Ange Postecoglou European record. I'm talking about, have Celtic believed in what they can achieve as a club? Now, this is crazy to me. It's only the Europa League. But Daniel, mate, you'd be gutted if we went out the Scottish Cup. If you, you would be. You'd be going, oh, this isn't good enough for Celtic. But the Europa League, you think, is only the Europa League. Well, for me, in my lifetime, we've been to one final. I'm 34 now. I would love, and I've got the headset on. I would love it if Celtic made another European final. It's time the board back a manager who I think is more than capable of achieving that success. Speaking of Ange, and we're going to go down memory lane in a wee minute, Phil, because I know, but I think the viewers will enjoy the debate as well about that. But before we do that, Ange did his press conference today, and I watched his interview, and he was talking. I don't know if it was his press conference, the one that he did exclusively on Celtic TV, whatever they put on YouTube. I watched both.
Yep.
But he says that the players brought in this summer, it won't be near the numbers of last summer. We knew that anyway.
Yeah.
He says, but they will be of a significant standard and they'll be brought in to be playing immediately or to make an immediate impact. Something like that, he said.
Okay.
That excites me because what he's saying is the caliber is going up. We're not standing still. We're going this way. So if you want to come and sign for Celtic, or if I want you to sign for Celtic, it's because I see you either pushing the guys in the first team role, and I mean competing head to head with them for that position, or actually coming in as first choice. That is very exciting to hear that we're going to be a completely different animal in the transfer market this summer. We're going to be aiming for, I think, the finishing touches. I know the jigsaw always takes longer than that to complete, but you know what I mean. The next stage of Angie's project we're going to see is going to be higher caliber players and fewer of them coming in. What do you make of that? I think that's exciting.
Well, first of all, that is exciting because I've not seen the press conference yet, but to hear that, that's exactly what I like to hear as a fan. Now, when he's saying it won't be as big numbers, that's understandable. We're not going to go out and do, how many was it in the last summer? 12, 15 or something like that? Or is that overall for the entire season? So I don't expect us to go crazy like that. But when I'm saying it being a small number, it makes me think that he's already including Carter Vickers and Jota within that already. Like, I think they are... Because essentially, I know officially they're not our player, but because we've had them for a year, it would just be like, it's not a new addition, essentially. So I get a funny feeling. And as time has went on, I've been in the impression that we'll probably sign Carter Vickers more than Jota, but now we're hearing some of the stuff in the last few weeks. It's like, well, I think getting both of them is now a reality. And again, I've made this point a couple of times when I was on speaking to Regan a couple of weeks ago, and I think it was last week post-match pish, about this thing. If we get the Champions League qualifying, right, and we qualify, we win the league, we get into the tournament, we get this haloed 40 million everyone's talking about. I don't know the exact figure, but it seems to change. When Rangers were in a position at the top of the league to win the title, it was 40 million. Suddenly now they're telling us, oh, no, it's actually like 50 million, whatever. It seems to fluctuate depending who you ask.
Phil,
yeah.
Phil, I'll quickly come in there on that because there was a very interesting thread on Twitter done by the Swiss Ramble.
Swiss Ramble, yes.
Yeah, right. And they actually did a feature on what winning the SPFL would mean to both Celtic and Rangers this year. And by his estimations, between the main TV pot, the British split, which is 10% that the Scottish club gets, and then with TV revenue, sponsorship is something, and then expected wins, loss. He was like, maybe Celtic could quote for a win and a draw, but he had it all collated at around 45 to 50 million pounds. And this guy is an accountant, basically, isn't he? He knows his shit. He's got spreadsheets to back it all up. So just quickly to jump in on that, I mean, I would trust a source like that above fans going tit for tat. But I think you're looking at 40 million plus. Although, having said that, the split's going to change massively if they were to do the unthinkable and win that trophy, because they go straight in as the top seeds and they would actually get more of the British split of that 10% than us. But anyway, sorry. Just because I was reading that.
No, that's a fair point. Because again, I'm just always making the point that depending who you ask, what side of the divide, they'll tell you, oh no, you're only getting that. But anyway, I've said before, like, Ange is a guy who's got a lot of contacts, and obviously this Mark Lawwell move this week excites me. I'm actually on the side of I'm happy that this is. I know people will see the name Lawwell and they'll be like, "Oh no," be filled with dread. Flashbacks, like Vietnam flashbacks or something. Like, "Oh no, can't believe it." Peter Lawwell, he's going to have an influence again. But I'm excited about the Mark Lawwell thing because of his contacts within the City group, the access to the database. I wouldn't be surprised if we get a couple of players in from Man City's youth team again on loan. I wouldn't be shocked if we see that. But Ange is showing already with what he's brought in, the markets he's tapped into. He doesn't need to spend like stupid amounts of money, to get a quality player. Because how much did Hitati cost and Maeda? Well, Maeda is a loan at the moment, but I think in the summer we got obliged by somebody like that. So. And obviously the whole Giacomakis thing, that we've talked about this one before, like finding that gem out there where it was like, well, his contract clause allowed him to move for that price. So I think even though we'll get a lot of money out of it, we won't need to go crazy because I trust that Ange, he'll be ready for it. And I can see us also getting business done very early in the summer. I think it'll be very similar to the January window. And that will be a welcome change, I think, for many Celtic fans, because I hate deadline day. I hate watching Sky Sports News all day, listening to it. You're waiting for a wee crumb, a wee morsel of something, and then nothing happens. Let's cross over now to a reporter who confirms there's nothing to confirm. That's what you get. Or a guy runs up with a pink dildo and waves it in a guy's ear. Remember that one? Yeah, that was some moment. That was a moment in time. That was an absolute landmark moment.
I think as well with the end of January sort of rush to sign players, whatever it was, they were very underwhelming as well. It was not the end of January, so the end of the summer window, because you just knew there was a wee bit of almost lack of pre-planning, lack of foresight. Are these players that we were really identifying at the beginning of the summer? Are these guys that the manager really, really wanted to add to the team? Or have you failed on delivering the players? I think it's a completely different setup. Firstly, because we'll be financially a lot better off going into the summer. Or even if the money's not come in yet, we know it's there. It's coming down the pipe. So, that's fantastic when you're in that position where you can be right. We're in a position of strength here. And I think, like you say, you've got a manager who's so direct, doesn't fuck about, and is all about really. He can't be arsed with all the transfer stuff, really. He'll identify his players, but he'll go, I want all this shit done and while the players are off. And I want them all when they come back in, that squad to be near enough ready to get 5 weeks of tutelage, without a game.
That's huge, that, by the way. That no qualifiers is massive. Massive.
I know, because Tony Ingles was coming in a minute ago and he was saying, I don't like the qualifiers, to be honest. It starts the season too early, and he's absolutely right. And it has every single year. But this time, it's going to be that gap that we've got. That real time where Ange comes into his own as well. This is the thing. This is a bona fide training ground manager who's going to get a month, mate, of basically training ground work. I think we're going to the Czech Republic, we've announced recently. We're going to have
Blackburn and Norwich.
Norwich City coming up. And I think got to get something on the centre circle for that, by the way.
I was quite disappointed. I saw that Tony Mowbray's leaving Blackburn Rovers. When I saw him playing Blackburn, I was like, oh, Tony Mowbray will be back up at Celtic. No, apparently he's finishing up at the end of the season with Blackburn.
Yes.
Oh, thanks, man.
One of the favourites for the Hibs job, though.
Oh. Although Timo Pukki will be back in town when Norwich come up. Remember Timo Pukki?
He's getting booed. Big con artist, mate. That's not the player I've seen in the hoops.
No, definitely not, no.
But did score at Tynecastle, if my memory serves me right.
I was at that game.
Were you?
There. Yes, I was. The one when Lee Griffiths also scored as well. Lee Griffiths got his first goal and Timo Pukki scored the second one that day, but I was at Tynecastle for that one, 2014. Speaking
of con artists, there's another one, Bio. Smashing at his new club.
Bio.
Frightening,
my God.
Frightening. Right, okay, so obviously Hearts are coming up, Phil, and we did a wee bit of homework we had this week to do, which that just don't stop me. I love this, man.
Don't stop me. You like Ange, mate. You don't stop.
I like Ange. Work 10 till 6. Walk 3 miles a day. Make my scran and then do some Bhoycie Buzz pods. And then in between, I had to do some YouTubing whilst eating my scran the night of our favourite sort of Celtic Hearts matches. Now, I've got to be honest, I know we're playing at Celtic Park tomorrow, but I lean towards the games at Tynecastle. I've said this before. I think that's my favourite fixture of the league campaign is the ones at Tynecastle. Yeah, I really do. I think they're brilliant fun. So let's have some fun with it. Let's get in your favourite memories of Celtic Hearts games. It doesn't need to be at Tynecastle or Celtic Park. Either way, it could be at Hampden. It could be somewhere else. And I think Phil's going to kick us off with that one. Phil, take it away, mate.
Yeah, this is one that came to mind earlier on as we were talking about this idea. So going back to 2018, 2018-19 season, the treble winning season, but it's not the cup final, which you may think right away, you'll be like, oh, the 2-1, Edward. No, early in the season, now you talk about the definition of somebody grabbing the game by the scruff of the neck. You talk about a player that comes and takes his chance. I was at the game at Murrayfield in October of that year, the semi-final against Hearts now, because for some reason, probably Neil Doncaster, some idiot at the SPFL had this bright idea that day that Celtic and Rangers would both play semi-finals at Hampden on the same day, and this was also signed off originally by Police Scotland, who I think Bernard Higgins may have something to do with. But a couple of days later, the SRU stepped up and said, no, you can't do that. We'll let you use Murrayfield. So when that news came out, I had a feeling we're probably going to be the ones who get sent to Murrayfield. But in terms of like quality of the stadium to Hampden to Murrayfield, I much prefer Murrayfield. To be fair, it's a good day out. You know, I don't consider Hampden an away day a day out because it's within Glasgow. So for me, it's not. But that was a proper trip that day. So I loved it. A good sunny autumnal day, you know, late October. And first half, I can remember we were quite turgid. You know, we were struggling a wee bit because we didn't start that season very well. Both Celtic and Rangers had a bit of a stuttery start. I can remember a league game with St Mirren where Olivier Ncham was absolutely on a mad one that night, throwing himself into tackles, got himself sent off after 20 minutes. We drew 0-0. What was the game? We lost to Hearts actually at Tynecastle in the second game of the season. We'd had a bit of a slow start, but yeah, we drew Hearts in the semi-final, and we obviously get sent to Murrayfield for it. And yeah, I was up in the heavens that day, but again, compared to the Hampden views, yeah, it was much better than that, because at Hampden you're absolutely miles away, especially behind the goal. And yeah, second half were coming out, and I remember early in the second half, like Ryan Christie was coming on. And he'd only came back off his loan spell at the start of the season from Aberdeen and hadn't really featured yet. And you see, you know, he's coming on, and you're like, Ryan Christie, like, you know, really? Like, is he, you know, what's he going to bring to the game? So I know he had a good run at Aberdeen, but you've always got that idea in your head, you know, Aberdeen's at this level, Celtic were more expecting this level. But my God, he was involved in every single goal. Came on, won as a penalty right away. He was involved in the second goal. It was his shot that was saved, well, terribly by the Hearts goalkeeper, who fumbled it right out into the path of James Forrest to make it 2-0. And then what a finish for the third one. Absolutely, it crosses in, hits off Odsonne Edouard. He just kind of like chests it into his path, and he just runs on and connects with it so perfectly with his left foot and bends it right in the top corner. As in FIFA language, we call that a finesse shot, where you hold in the L1 button.
Yeah, finesse shot.
It was so perfectly hit, bent up into the top corner. But yeah, overall, the whole experience that day is one of my favourite games against Hearts, because the atmosphere, unbelievable. Murrayfield, much better stadium than Hampden for me. And yeah, that was the dawning of Ryan Christie, because then he went on a little spell in the sort of autumn going into the winter of that season where he was carrying us through a lot of games. Like, he really came on. So yeah, that for me is one that stood out right away, since we're talking about games against Hearts.
Yeah, I think it's a great way to get us kicked off. It really was Ryan Christie's coming of age in a Celtic shirt. Just when you thought maybe it wasn't going to work out for Ryan Christie. Forgive me if I'm wrong. That was about halfway through the season, wasn't it?
It was it's October, so you're going
Late
into the sort of like early winter of the season, yeah.
But he hadn't when he came back from Aberdeen, he hadn't exactly came in and made an impact on the first game at all.
I remember the sort of groans and confusion and the fans around me when you saw Ryan Christie was coming on as a sub. See, at half time we trudged off 0-0. Hearts had scored a goal in the first half that got disallowed. And that was also the game where McLean, their striker, did he not injure Abui Kouassi? Remember, he injured him, gave him a groin injury by literally grabbing him.
That's right.
Weird behaviour.
Right.
Yeah, but we were struggling in that game.
At him.
And then Ryan Christie comes trudging on, who, as you say, hadn't really came into the team since coming back from his loan spell. So you're kind of like, what's he going to bring here? But as I say, when you talk about the definition of taking the game by scruff of the neck, that was a phenomenal performance from that boy. And I say it just kick-started his career.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, another inspired decision by a manager at that time who didn't seem to get an awful lot wrong. There's some brilliant suggestions.
For Paul McFarlane's benefit, we won't mention that manager's name.
And yeah. But in comes this comment, Scott Sinclair's debut.
Yes.
I mean, again, it was a bit of a start, that match. That was Roger's first competitive match, wasn't it? No, our first league game anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And we were all right. It was all right. I was feeling it was like, it's not
Scott
quite
Sinclair, did he not arrive like that afternoon? Because it was like or was it the day before he arrived at the club?
Before, I think
hadn't even trained with the team or anything. Yep.
and then just fire him on anyway because Rodgers knew him.
Mm.
And I think as well for Scott Sinclair is a fascinating player because see if you actually look at the trajectory, he was get off very often when he first goes to a team, he starts with a bang.
Mm-hmm.
And very often when he was a main man of a team, he's the main man of a team.
Yeah.
When he did bigger moves, when he was on, I think he was on loan in the Championship, won like Player of the Year or whatever, maybe with Rodgers' Swansea team. Went back to Chelsea, couldn't get really into the mix there, and then he did well. Did he go back to Swansea and do well? Because he then
went
won a
Aston
move to
Villa.
Man.
He was Aston Villa when they get relegated because we got them because Villa got relegated.
But remember, he also earned a move to Man City at one point, Phil.
Aye, he was Swansea, then Man City, then he went to Villa, and then he came to us, and then Preston after us.
Preston, aye.
Aye.
But he's one of those players. I always felt he was a real confidence player.
He was.
And I think he felt that towards the end of maybe even towards the end of season 2, certainly season 3, his confidence has just sort of left him a wee bit. And yet when he was full of confidence at times, he was making the game look so easy. I love Scott Sinclair. I love the fact he loved Celtic. You would never want to have
I
left.
always think of it. I think it was our own Player of the Year awards where his first season, I think he got the Player of the Year, the top scorer award, and I want to say it was maybe Jerry McCulloch was supposed to be said to him on the stage something like, I feel like I finally found my home in football. It's one of those everyone in the room stands up and applauds him like, yes.
It's class that,
But yeah, but you hear things like that and then he kind of fizzled out, which was really unfortunate, and people were sort of getting on his back and that. So yeah, grabbed his balls. Yeah, that's the more important way to put it. I was trying to find a polite way to describe it. There isn't really a polite way to describe it. Yes, he literally grabbed his balls and gave him a groin strain. Did Kurasi Aburo try to run that off as well at one point? Like, there's a point where he was struggling so bad.
Poor choice of phrase there. But
oh, no.
But the Scott Sinclair debut is a good one, and it was a crucial goal because it set the Invincibles off in their run as well. I like that one. I've got one, and as usual, I go back to Martin O'Neill, because that's what I love. That's my favourite time, and I don't care. It still is right now. And Martin O'Neill's team would absolutely trounce Angie's team. I don't care what any of you say. I don't care. Basically, we play Hearts. I watched the highlights today on YouTube. I remember all 3 goals. Larsson's involved in all 3. The first one, a beautiful reverse ball through that just leaves the whole Hearts defence completely dumbfounded. Petrov comes in, slides it under a certain goalkeeper in 2004, this was, called Craig Gordon, who will be lining up for Hearts against Celtic again tomorrow in 2022. Fair play, by the way. Fair play. And Petrov slides it under. It's a brilliant first goal. Anyway, we're rocking a wee bit. We're looking good. Celtic's getting in their groove. Ball comes in from the left. I think it's Tomo. And Larsson, honestly, at this point, I think he was becoming this fully rounded player in terms of he just had it all. Sometimes players get better as they get older. And I think in Henrik's case, that was very much the truth. Nowadays, you would ideally sign a player if you got them at 26, 27. I think you'd be thinking 27, 28, maybe you'll get their peak years. Now, with Henrik, though, he seemed to turn 30 and sort of just become just a joke of a footballer. And he does. So this ball came through, and on the volley, Larsson, with the outside of his boot, plays a layoff round the back of the centre half, which again Petrov's running onto, and he just blasts into the roof of the net for about 15 yards, right in front of all the Celtic fans. 2-0. Then, this is the bit I forgot. Hearts go down to 9 men, Phil.
Dirty bastards.
And I mean, the amount of tackles it actually shows you in the highlights, well, the amount of fouls, is frightening. Absolutely frightening. The amount of fouls, how physical the game used to be even back then, by the way. And bring back a bit of that, by the way. Because there was no moaning. There was no moaning and bitching, but aye. So Neil Lennon's actually fouled for both the second yellow cards for the Hearts players. It's Paul Hartley and then Alan Mabry. But It's unreal because Paul Hartley's first challenge, he doesn't get a straight red for, and he literally runs at Neil Lennon. He's about 3 yards in the air. He's jumped off to win a header, leads with the elbow, not even looking at the ball, and just clatters Lennon with the forearm. He could have knocked him out. And that's still just a yellow card back in 2004. Bring back those days, man.
No.
But we then scored a third, and it's Henrik, of course. A breakaway. It was 4 against 1. And Petrov shoots a decent shot. Craig Gordon pulls off a good save, but you can't keep Henrik down, and he just creeps in at the back, sticks it away. Does a wee Gallus. All the Hearts fans are getting on his signs, and he sort of runs away with the tongue out, being a wee bit cheeky. Loved that. And Craig Gordon, funnily enough, very reminiscent of sometimes we've seen in recent years, boots the ball away as it bounces out the net in frustration.
Yeah.
I was like, that's funny how that's 18 years ago. Craig Gordon was playing against Henrik Larsson at one point. I think that's testament to him, by the way, to be absolutely fair.
What I liked about that Larsson goal there with the header, it's just, again, it's that awareness, it's that reaction. It's just to, the shot from Petrov, and it's like just to assume that he might spill this here, and just how quickly he gets in. Oh, just chunks my trunk, thanks. But thank you very much. But yeah, I really was impressed by that. Just the way that he just follows it in. Again, that's just brilliant awareness. Something that you obviously brought up the other week, Giakoumakis' awareness. You thought it was very Larsson-esque. Just to anticipate that the goalkeeper might make a mistake here, or defenders might make a mistake. It's a good trait for a striker to have.
Oh, I think you're absolutely right. We'll come to the next one. And this is the one that will round off the show on, and it's been suggested in the comments, Phil. And I think, see, for me, it is the first game. And you were, if this was your idea to do tonight, you'd sort of say, look, Bhoycie, why, if you're thinking of doing something, he goes, why don't, rather than doing the generic preview show and tell me your predicted score and your lineup for Celtic, and we could do those debates on a million different shows, but we'll have a wee bit of fun with it. We trip down memory lane. First game that came to my head was this one, and it was 3-2 at Tynecastle. It's the New Year's game, I think, January 2006.
January 06.
And we've got a title challenge on our hands. And it's not from the blue half of the city. It's from the team that play at Tynecastle week in, week out. They've started the season with 10 league wins from 10 under George Burley and Sackham.
Yes.
Which is unbelievable when you think about it. 30 points clocked up by October, and he's gone.
Was Graham Ricks their manager for this game?
I believe he was. It was Graham Ricks, and then he left before the end of the season. I think it was Ivanauskas.
Because I was like, that would be an amazing pub quiz, just try to name all the Hearts managers in the Romanov era, because it starts with Burley, it then goes to Ricks. I know that Paulo Sergio was manager at some point, and then somewhere in between, I don't know the rest. I think Craig Levine came back, and Jim Jeffries came back at different times. Oh, God, it's so hard to keep a track of that one. But yeah, I'm sure it's Graham Ricks at this point, I think.
But anyway, Hearts have a team that has been assembled, with the backbone of maybe the previous couple of years, but with some players brought in that really did take them. Jankowskis was a Champions League winner.
Yep.
Jankowskis played for Porto, and in fact, he was in the squad against us in the UEFA Cup as well.
Yep.
Jankowskis, and he'd played in La Liga for Real Sociedad. Hearts were signing him at his peak when he was 30. It was crazy. They had him. They had a guy called Brellier holding midfield.
Julian Brellier.
Who else did they have?
Takis Thesis, Greece Euros winner.
2004 winner. What are you? What the fuck? Like, what a team this was.
Bonkers.
And we go 2-0 down, Phil, don't we?
Mate, we were drowning in that game. I remember watching that live. It was first 10 minutes. Jankowski scores, although it's kind of more an own goal off Ross Wallace, I think, was playing left back that day. Which, by the way, I just want to quickly segue into something really quickly. Now, there's this weird narrative going around about if this Celtic team win the league, it'll be the worst team that's ever won it. 2006, I'm going to list off just some of the players, right, that won the league with Celtic that season, right? We had Mo Kamara, Adam Virgo, Paul Telfer. We had Craig Beattie. Remember Craig Beattie played this part that season. Who else was in that? Stephen Pearson, who's one of the goal scorers, we had to deploy Ross Wallace at left back in a lot of games because Mo Kamara was so unspeakably shite, and Ross Wallace wasn't even a left back. He had to play there, and he was playing in this game, and say he scores an own goal. But yeah, we are drowning in that first 10 minutes, and Stephen Presley scores the second one off a corner. But yeah, I can remember watching this game live, and honestly, like, we needed half time so badly. You talk about that sort of this team saying where this team really needs half time. Yes, we needed half time after 10 minutes in that game. We were absolutely all over the shop. But then in the second half, I mean, Russell, if there was a wrestling commentator out there that's famous wearing a black cowboy hat, and he coined a word that could describe the carnage of that second half to maybe be a bit feisty, what would the word be, do you think? What he would use?
Slobber knocker.
An absolute slobber knocker in a second half. Unbelievable.
It
So
was.
Stephen Pearson comes on, and I don't think he'd featured that much up to that point. It was a bit like he was just throwing some, just trying to make a change. But within minutes, Pearson gets the goal, doesn't he, to bring us back into it?
Yep. I mean, I think it's very interesting what David Kelly said. He said, title challenge at laughter face. The Jambles shot their bolt in October. Sure, we won the league in March. Well, if we did, I'm not sure. But what I do know is because when I watched the game, they're talking about the points gap. And then I read the BBC News or BBC Sport article. I found that on Google. If Celtic had lost and they were 2-0 down in this game, believe it or not, David, Phil, that would have cut the gap to 4 points.
Yep. Aye.
So this was not by any way, shape, or form a done deal.
Yep.
I mean, 7 points clear is what we remain thanks to McManus's late double salvo. But it was far from Hearts were completely out the mix here. Yes, 7 points behind.
Yeah.
But they went 2-0 up. That turns into 4 points. And yeah, I would call that a title challenge, if I'm honest to you. Okay, they didn't. And it was a memorable couple of goals from McManus, wasn't it, Phil?
Oh, God, yeah. So you're looking at the clock, and I think it's maybe 86, 87 minutes, still 2-1. We've got a free kick out on the our right-hand side, Hearts' left-hand side, so Nakamura's over it. That's the guy you want over these free kicks. Delivers an inch-perfect cross. McManus, a nice wee sort of glancing header, finds the far corner. I remember the commentary as well, and it's even on the YouTube highlights for Jock Brown and Mark Gately. Their assumption is, well, they've rescued a point. That's it. They've rescued a point here. And at the time, you would have thought you couldn't believe what was going to happen next because I see we've equalised in like the 89th minute. It's not too dissimilar to what we saw the other night with Real Madrid and Man City, where you're going into like deep into the end of the game and they've scored 2 goals in quick succession. Because we get another free kick in roughly the same area. Out in the same spot. Nakamura over it again, sends it in. I think Bobo Balde goes in for the header and scuffs it. And it just rolls in front of McManus, and he scuffs it across the goal with his weaker foot, and it literally just trundles into the back post as Craig Gordon doesn't even really stretch for it. He just watches it go past him, puts the hand out. So
he must have had all his weight on his left-hand side or something, Gordon. He must have, because it is what we've seen some of the sort of saves he's made in the past. But yeah, a scuff from Stephen McManus to make it 3-2. I've got to say, that would be my go-to memory of Celtic Hearts matches as well, Phil.
Oh, yeah.
As always, it's been a pleasure to have you on. That's us way over an hour. There's 114 watching live.
Oh, well.
If you
like and subscribe.
Yes, please do hit the like button. Do hit the subscribe. We're getting loads more new subscribers all the time, and it does help the channel grow. All that carry on. I seen someone else became a member as well. Celts on the Hill. Thank you for that. There is a $1.99 monthly option, and it's optional if you so wish. If not, like and subscribe for free. All our shows will always be free, as you always know. Thanks to everyone in the comments. We've had a great trip down memory lane. We've had some exciting thoughts on what could be tomorrow, our league title being won back. Who'd have thought it? Phil McGinlay, what a legend. I'll see you all later.
His comments about me deliberately trying to cause controversy. Well, I work in the media now, and you've got someone sitting there next to you who's an embarrassment to the media profession. He's an apologist. He's a charlatan.